All right, good evening and welcome to this August 22nd meeting of the Webster Grove School Board. Join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, welcome everyone, and as you can see, we are back in the Frick Theater again. Just wanted to tell my colleagues in the community, sort of bear with us a little bit. We've shifted the layout around a little bit again. We're gonna just sort of keep playing with this and see what works for us and the flow of the meeting and the sound and audio and all of those things. So bear with us for that. I would just ask, has everyone had a chance to review the agenda? Any changes?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? All right. First order of business is the public comments, and I do not believe we had any written public comments, but we do welcome comments from the audience. We'd ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes and state your name and address and school districts in which you reside. We have one tonight, and that's Mr. Hockey.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's nice to see everyone. And I just wanted to, so Justin Hockey, 120 Tulip, live in the district. I've never been in this building before. It's beautiful. This is really impressive, and I think it's really cool that you guys did this with private donations, and that's really awesome that the Fricks did that, and something that I've been really supportive of, soliciting that from the community. So I think this is a beautiful space, and congratulations on getting it. The only thing I was going to put as a caveat to that was just on the consent agenda today, only because I'm a stickler about it, but like from the finance committee, I guess what I would say is with Moss Field being such a signature project, I think it would have warranted a little bit more space on the agenda today. We've got, this is now the 13th change order on the cost of Moss Field. Still is under budget. It's under the contingencies that were assigned there, but this was an original $12 million budget project, 17.9 million at the end. Now, some of that's come from private donations, which is awesome, and that's great, but still cash is fungible. It's 5.9 million that doesn't go to something else. We've talked about it, or at least I've talked about it, and the board has now acknowledged that we are running in an operating deficit. I think it would be appropriate to have had that discussion for the community. Again, I don't think that's a controversial comment, but I just wanted to say that I think that that would be something that would be better to not be on the consent agenda. So thank you. And again, beautiful space, and I think it's really great, and welcome back, everyone.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hockey. And moving on to the communications and recognition and information portion of the agenda. First up is our celebrations from student advisors, and Caden, you're the one that's here.
I just had one celebration to kind of give. This morning at the high school, KSDK was here, and we kind of gave them an overview, kind of outside of Frick Theater and outside of senior entrance, and they were able to get a good view of the high school and what we've added to it. So I know the band were there, cheerleaders there. I know some administrators were there too. So that was just a great time, a great place to show off what we've done and what we've done with our money, and just a great way to show the community what we've done. So yeah, that's my celebration.
All right, thank you, Caden. Yeah, I watched some of that footage this afternoon. It was great that they were there and that you guys put on a great show. I heard you guys were respectful and they were impressed, so thank you all for doing that. Next is celebrations from the board. Anybody want to start?
I'm going to start so I can start the easy one, and that's just all the great things that happened on the first day of school. I think there was just so much excitement and energy at all of our schools. It's just always so fun to see kids and teachers and staff and whoever else excited to be back. So, and again, to echo Justin, the space is just beautiful. So, and I do like this configuration. So thank you for that.
Absolutely, Joe, I agree with you. Great energy, love seeing the families in front of Avery again. And I just wanted to say, the Future Leaders Program in the high school has just been incredible. And my kiddo was packed for school 2 weeks ago. We didn't even buy supplies until 3 days ago, but she was packed for school 2 weeks ago. She woke up every day in the middle of summer to go to the leadership program. We didn't have to fly her out of bed. It was incredible, and she is so familiar with the high school already now because of that program. So kudos to everybody there. I also wanted to thank our facilities crew just to prepare all these schools and to manage now the influx of students and activity that's happening in them. So please pass along my thanks there. Thanks.
And I'll just add to that, it's obvious who the new high school parents are here. Because I wanted to celebrate the high school's parent open house. It was fantastic as a first-time high school parent. It was just so great to go to all the classes and meet all of the teachers, and it was very well organized, and I felt very prepared for high school after, so thanks for everyone who organized that. I also wanted to echo Joe and just celebrate the start of the school year and everything that goes into the start of the school year, because it's, there's a lot of work before that first day. And, one of the things that I recognize as a parent is every year at the start of school, I think this is going to be the best year ever. And I know that that takes so much work to build and create that energy for parents. So I just want to thank everyone who plays a part in that. And then finally, I want to celebrate you, Dr. Simpson, because none of these celebrations would be possible without your leadership and vision. So thank you.
All right, I will jump in and just sort of echo what everyone has said about the first day of school, right? That's always such an exciting day. It's always fun to see the excitement on the kiddos' face and the relief on the parents' face that we're sending them back, right? That's the other side of it. I just want to take a minute to celebrate the teachers and the time they spent at the beginning of the year getting their classrooms ready and the professional development that they went through. I want to just take a special minute to lift up the Hickson staff, janitorial staff, and teachers that, those new windows that you see driving down Elm look fantastic, but it did put a delay on, I'm sure, the schedules that some of those teachers and staff wanted to have in terms of getting their classrooms together. But I was in there for Hickson Open House with my daughter, and the staff that had those rooms were ecstatic. All they could talk about was how good it looked, how fresh it looked, all the light coming in. Some of them were like, we're having to wear our sunglasses in here, so it was really nice to see that energy. But I just want to take a minute to lift up those janitorial staff and teachers that had to do a little bit extra for those spaces. So Alex, we'll give you a second to go back to you for celebrations if you have anything.
You're good?
Okay.
It was all of the after-school activities, so I want to give a big shout out to Lori Buchanan for putting those things on, and I know the district helped with that, but it's nice to see that each grade level had different activities, some in theater, some in chess and things like that, and so I thought it was just a very nice variety, and there was even scholarships for those, because some of those things involved parents to put in some money, so there were scholarships involved in that too, so I thought that was fantastic. So big shout out to that. I think it was great. Thanks.
All right, on to celebration from administrators.
We are going to pass on this one because part of Derek's opening of school update will have loads of celebrations, some of which you mentioned.
Great. Next on the agenda is board liaisons. As you guys know, we all take responsibility and have liaisons to school buildings and to different cities and communities and commissions, board committees, all those different opportunities. This does not require a vote and does not, we're not going to like talk through all of it in the meeting, but we wanted to put it on the agenda, have it included in the documentation for, not only for all of us, but also for the community and all those committees and commissions we're a part of. So that's out there in the public. And I assume there's no questions about that, but if there is, we can entertain them. Nope. All right. Moving on to board goals for this school year. We did discuss this a little bit last time, and we have spent some time editing, but I'll turn it over to Alex to lead the conversation.
Yeah, I think the main thing is it's all on the agenda for the public if you'd like to view them. The biggest change from last year, because last year we created these, and I think a lot of them still pertain to this school year as they're involved with Prop S. But the biggest difference would be that involved with finding a new superintendent. And so we've created some goals around that. It's pretty much the first page of the goals. So I'm not going to get into detail about them, but I think, if you're interested, feel free to look at them. It's mainly about working with the right organization, finding the right superintendent that fits with the district, and then making that transition as smooth as possible. So I don't know if there's any questions or anything about that from the board.
Any questions about the goals? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the 24-25 board goals.
So moved. And thanks to Alex for all his work on it.
Yep.
And Tara, I'll give Tara a shout out. Tara helped out too.
Thank you.
Okay, it's been properly moved.
It has been. First and a second, John Christine.
Oh, I missed the second. My apologies.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? All right, that carries 4-0. All right, moving on to the opening reports from superintendent and staff and the opening day of school update.
Derek's going to take the lead on this.
All right. Oh, there we go. Everybody good. All right. President Todd, Vice President Khan, Dr. Simpson, members of the board, thank you for having me today to report on the opening of school. But as you know, every year the opening of school doesn't just happen. There's a lot of planning and things that go into the opening of school. So we'll go through a couple of things that we have done over this summer, both adults and also students as well, starting with a lot of our summer learning for our adults, not just teachers, staff members as well, or other staff members as well, starting with the Experiential Learning Teacher Academy. So the Chelsea Center is hosting a year-long experiential learning academy for our educators, where they're able to explore best practices in the academic area of experiential learning. They earn credentials from the National Society of Experiential Education. There is some photos from there. Next, we have some two things, Character-Based Discipline and Restorative Practices Institute. So kind of like with the character-based discipline, our staff were able to get inside kind of like the science of human behavior. And so not just like why, and kind of like why people do what they do, right? And also we can help provide better practices, promoting better responsible behavior amongst our students when they arrived back at school. With restorative practices, we learned about practical strategies for implementing those restorative practices, and the learning focused on building relationships and how to prevent and address different conflicts in school. And next, as you know, we have a new math resource, introduced illustrative math from Imagine Learning. It's our new K-5 math resource, and so educators got a chance to kind of do a deep dive and evaluate that and learn more about that process moving forward. We had the literacy resource pacing and alignment. So this summer, we realigned better integrating our current resources and tools, all so that we can enhance the effectiveness of all of our literacy education throughout the district. We also started, and then that happened kind of earlier in the summer, kind of a week or two before school started. We went around, more district administration went around to schools and shared information with teachers and staff as well. Now, as you know, the rollout to Infinite Campus begun months ago. the bulk of the learning from the staff standpoint took place the last few weeks, kind of just updating everything to get everything ready to go for the start of school. That learning took place. We had our safety officers, Officer Fred, Officer Cam, went to our buildings along with Tina, and we did some Raptor training. We integrated some new reunification services with our staff this year that should be helpful in not only drills, but in case of emergencies. And then we went over our intruder safety drills and kind of our standard response protocols that the district moved to last year. A little bit earlier on in the summer, we welcomed our new educators with a tour of the district as well. They did a lot of learning for that time. We welcomed 4 new administrators, some returning administrators that served here previously as principal, as a teacher, and some new faces as well. And then we met as a leadership team as well, took tours of both Frick Theater before it opened and Moss Field a couple weeks ago. We'll talk more about Moss Field later as well. We really dived a lot into the strategic plan and kind of evaluated what we as administrators see what that looks like from different perspectives. So I might be more familiar with the communications plan, but what do I think about some other plans, and do I see it in practice happening in the district? And so that was a good experience that we took 2 full days to talk about that. We talked a lot about just some other training and resources for administrators as well. Probably my favorite part of the summer was our first annual support staff conference. We called it WGFWD. Dr. Adams was instrumental in bringing this to us this year, and we haven't really met as a support staff. And by support staff, I mean custodians, admin assistants, other staff like that, not educators in teaching children at that time, communications people. And we really had a good time. Not only did we talk about, we had an alum come and do a speaking part in the beginning, and it really got everybody energized in Frick Theater, and then we went throughout the building. We had some personal finance classes that were taught. I love one was just about laughing and just laughing, and that was it, and it was the best. I think it was the best one that I saw. Everybody was having a great time. The picture on the right's from that one, and we had one on customer service. So it was really and the feedback that we got was really impactful, I think, because a lot of people just felt appreciated to receive this sort of support and professional development from the district. And also a chance, we're in all these buildings and we don't often see each other. If you're at an elementary school and you're a custodian, you would probably never have a reason to go to a different school. So it was really a good time to kind of get together as a support staff. And hopefully we continue that in the future. We also had our 3rd annual Staff of Color welcome breakfast that happened the day of our opening celebration with all staff. And that was a great time. I love looking at all the pictures from it all the time. Miss Daniel goes from our communications department, takes pictures, and I think I end up with like 300 pictures, I think, every time from her. And it's just people laughing, people having a good time, and connecting with one another, which I think the feedback from that has been really well received also. So that's the adults, kind of what we did. Also, I mean, the adults did partake in a lot of the learning as well in leading our young people throughout the summer. As you know, we have a real rich summer program. So these are just some of the numbers throughout our summer learning that took place. You mentioned Future Leaders program in the high school. Always fun to see feedback and people from there. The middle school, or our middle school program did a day of service during the summer, which was awesome. Their experiences were great. The high school also did a lot of experiential learning. They did a barbecue science course over the summer, which was only 2 weeks long. I wish it was like the whole month long. And it was great. Also, our Celebrate Reading and See programs and our traditional programs as well. So just because the school year is over doesn't mean the learning stops. We continue the Jumpstart to Kindergarten with 94 students amongst the kindergartners who were eligible to come, which is obviously open to all incoming kindergartners, not just coming to, well, I guess that one is just coming to Webster, but anyone could enroll even if they weren't a Webster student at that time. Also hiring, as you know, always hiring in the district for our people. This is just a look of our turnover rate, which has gone down year over year. This is the end of the 23-24 year. That's why it's listed as 7% there. So we're happy about that. This is our current staffing. So you'll see August 1st versus August 24th. So basically that 3-week time period, kind of the changes. Some of them are due to just individual fluctuations in people leaving at different times. So for example, for instructional aid. Others that we'll talk about, like Adventure Club, we always are hiring for Adventure Club. So numbers there look a little different. Even if we hire people, we still might have the same number of openings based on availability of the work. People are usually, sometimes they come all 5 days, sometimes it's a 3-day-a-week thing, and so we're still hiring people for that. But we are happy that our custodians are completely full as well. And like you guys have said, they've done a great job getting the building ready. Adventure Club waitlist. So, of course, offering, before and after school care is a big priority for us. These are what the numbers look like as of today. Well, pending, some of these asterisks are pending positions that will go to you all tonight. So the numbers are the enrollment percentages have gone up from where they were a few weeks ago, which typically has happened. I believe it happened similarly last year. But obviously we would like to enroll everyone that we possibly can. So like I said, still a work in progress in getting those positions filled as much as possible so we can support our families and students. To that end, we are creating various promotional things that we're doing through that. We're working with those at the Adventure Club, Kelly and Amanda, on really trying to figure out the best promotional ways to do this. So we really are focusing on more of what it is and some of the benefits that you can get out of Adventure Club or out of working for Adventure Club. We also, so we created a new flyer and we're thinking of other different avenues to do it. We as a district, which I'll talk about a little bit later, we're on Nextdoor now. So we are posting various things on Nextdoor to get attention of community members who maybe don't follow the district on Facebook or aren't parents. And so that's a way where we're trying to push this out there in ways that maybe we haven't thought of before. So we're just trying. This one? Yeah, so those waitlist numbers are pending hirings tonight. Yeah. And Sandy can answer any.
So those families, there's a group of families for all 3 schools that'll be contacted tomorrow after they've been approved. So that's really what our numbers will look like tomorrow. And then once we get everyone through the background check and all of that, then those students will be able to start.
And do you know what the numbers will be after those folks will be hired?
These are the numbers after they're
That's the
hired.
numbers,
So as of right now, if we didn't hire anybody, Avery would be at about 56%. Avery, Edgar, and Gibbons would all be in the 50s. If we weren't, I think tonight we're hiring 8 or 9 Adventure Club side assistants, a manager, and a lead, and we're still interviewing. Okay, so this will be reflective after we approve. Kelly Jones is the coordinator. She plans to call those families or reach out to them in some way tomorrow to let them know your child is officially not on the waiting list, and we have to wait on those employees to be fully vetted. So we will be not aggressively, but we will be attentive to them, ensuring they get everything through in a timely manner so that we can go ahead and provide that access. But we're very excited about that. And then once we get a couple of more hires that are full-time, we're estimating and really hoping that all of these wait lists will be eliminated fairly soon. Okay?
That was actually,
Do you have is your question related to Christine's? Okay, I have a question about recruiting, so go ahead.
okay. Yeah, my question was just related to the numbers. So if my math is correct, really you need 2 to 3 hires if they were full-time
Yes.
for each school to eliminate the list?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and what we're finding too is, it's unfortunate, but I understand, is that sometimes we'll call a family and say, your child's no longer on the wait list. That family will say, I've already found care, and so 24 then can automatically become 22, right? Because then we can move more people off. So it's just a matter of shaving through that tomorrow. So it'll take some time to really kind of see where we are, so we'll update it after that.
And my question, I know this is, year after year, it's a struggle, it's a difficult position to hire for, it's, fragmented hours during the day. Have we partnered with or reached out directly to any of our area colleges? Maybe that, a college student who might have classes in the middle of the day, but might be able to work those hours.
We have, there is one website, I can't think of the name of it now, but we post all of our postings on there, and all of the area universities use that one site to push to their students. So our flyers are there, we've connected with them. There's a Webster University hiring fair coming up in 2 weeks or a week, something like that. We actually had a parent that notified us as well about it, but we were already set to go. So we're gonna do that as well with Webster U. And we've gotten a good number of our high school students to apply, and I think we've hired probably about 5 high schoolers. But of course, some of them can do 5 days and some of them can't. So we are excited about that. But yes, we have partnered and we're reaching out constantly, and we're happy about the number of applicants we're getting in. So it just is a process to get them hired. We still do have to vet them.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Sort of brings up a question for me, actually, when you talk about the high school students. Are you seeing an overlap with the teacher learning cohort and some of those kids that are applying, or no? I don't know if that's for you or for Jason, or if anybody has the answer to that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I've not cross-referenced those names to see. I know that we were partnering with them to see about possible aid possibilities in some of our schools, but I will check that and get back with you. Yeah.
Okay, that's all the questions, Derek.
Okay. I should have said, obviously you figured it out. If you have any questions, please feel free to do so. We have other experts here in the room that are able to do that. Also over the summer, so these are just other things that happened over the summer. Before we started school, we launched a new website. So I want to thank both Zach and Pat Weaver in our technology department, Pat Weaver's our webmaster, who's just instrumental in getting the website up and running. It's a lot more mobile friendly. I know we've talked a lot about it over the last year, part of our communication plan, and we just think it's a much more accessible site for our families and also prospective families as well. So we're happy about launching that. Prop S projects. So I'm going to play this video if it plays. So this is just from this week. If you've been down to Moss Field in a while, or lately, they're spraying the orange color on there, which is a good Webster orange. I can confirm it does look as orange as I think we're going to be able to match. And so it's almost done. So they're waiting they're finishing. We just got pictures back today as well. We're really, really excited about the facility and about the new opportunities that our students and whole community is going to be able to be involved in because of Moss Field. We'll talk much more about that a little bit later on, and then also obviously in the coming weeks as well. And going forward, other Prop S projects, I believe we'll have a Prop S, Jacob will have a Prop S update for you all in September at one of the meetings. And all of this is in there, so I'm not going to go through every small detail that Prop S over the summer, but as you guys probably know, the work happens all the time. And over summer, when the students are not in the buildings as often, there's just a lot of available time. We talked about the windows, so phase 1 of the Hickson window replacements went there. We shared it online, and everybody was so happy to see it. It really does look like a new building with those new windows, and so it's just awesome. There's also safety film on those windows as well. That bottom layer or the bottom floor has the safety film too, and then also shading as well for the sun when it is in that particular place as well. That's on this part right here. Also happy that Givens, we were able to add that ADA accessible access to that lower playground at Givens, which has been great. for the community. And then also just a lot of other safety, security sort of implementations over the summer as well. This is some of the things at Ambrose. So, as you know, there's a new fenced-in area right now off of the Cedar lot on the entrance there. Also, we've replaced some gates at Hickson, both Hickson, the high school, as well, and just a lot of other projects happening throughout the district, repairing sanitary lines, storm lines, water mains. This is the converted sink at Edgar Road, I believe. A lot of those items complete. A lot of it not as flashy as a new football stadium or as as some other things that maybe the district does, but a lot of it's maintenance. Our buildings are really old or they're weathered, so we need to put in an investment in those maintenance projects as well. Also, flooring in classrooms, upgraded lights in many of our buildings as well have been completed, and so we're happy about that for our students and staff. Some of our playgrounds, which some have been PTO funded or grant funded, the Hudson Playground is in progress. We are excited. We took a picture of the playground before school got out, and they're antsy trying to wait until it's completed so they can get another picture up there of the new one. A lot of gym, compressor units, HVAC work done as well. This is at Edgar Road, I believe, right? And so this looks really nice, especially if you saw what it was before. You know how nice this is. So it's a nice structure, completely, it was PTO funded, it's completed. It's a nice space for students to be out there outside eating. As you know, right. As you know, Frick Theater, made possible from the donation from the Fricks. It's really great. It's a great storm shelter from, I imagine, on our knowledge from our Channel 5 thing this morning, which I'll talk about at the end. But as you can tell, it's really nice. That was our Prop S projects, kind of our summer construction project. So we welcome back all teachers and staff at our event, our opening day celebration event. August, it was a Monday, a couple Mondays ago, they all came back. And all the days run together sometimes. So it's a really great time. All of our teachers and staff get together those times. We have vendors and other games in one of the gyms at the high school. We had great performances by students there, which was just phenomenal. Probably the best part of the day was our two student individual music performances, and then also performances from the band, from the cheer, from the dance team, and it was just awesome. It's my third time coming as part of one in Webster, and each one it just feels like such a happy and exciting time for everyone who's there, and I think it really just gets better and better. We've started involving more students in there this year, which I think all the staff have enjoyed. I did want to mention that before we started school this week, Hickson Middle School was recognized from the Special Olympics as a unified champions of schools. So only 12 schools in the state were recognized this year for that. And so it's just a really great honor. Special School District was there. Special Olympics was there to give the banner. Cliff Downey is our special school district, kind of our leader there, who's really involved in Special Olympics there. And so a few board members were there. Dr. Simpson was there. And it was just really great. They have a news story on the Special School District website that's really good that we shared with our families as well. And so we're really happy about that. I feel like, especially last year, as you might know, the event that we host sometimes has typically been at Moss Field. They weren't able to do it last year at Moss due to the construction, and so kind of Cliff just kind of said, we're going to do it anyway, but we're going to do it at the middle school, and we're going to try to see what we can do. And it ended up great, and I think this just shows the commitment over time that we have to all students in the district, especially there at Hickson. And many of you have talked about the first day of school. I love the first day of school. I get so emotional on the first day of school. We went around across the district took pictures. I was at Bristol and Ambrose that morning. And like you all mentioned, there's just so much hope and excitement. And I compare it to kind of like opening day of baseball season when everybody is right there. It's just really good to see smiling faces from students and also our caring adults who are there as well that care for them. Now, it's really, I mean, it's important for I think for all of us to know that, you know, we're welcoming back all these students, and it's a great time for a lot of them. Some of them go home, you know, some of them go home to loving families. Some of them, the school is the most stable part of their day. So it's just that responsibility that I think all of our teachers and staff recognize and really care, not only academic performance of our schools, but really caring for the whole child and nurturing them and developing those relationships. Leading us to this morning, so we were glad to have Channel 5. Diamond Palmer was out this morning. I know Caden mentioned it. Some of you mentioned it as well. They had 2 live shots throughout the morning, a few minutes each. As you know, in news, things happen very fast. We were outside in front of Frick Theater early, and then we went out in front of the high school. And we just talked to Principal Dr. Irvin and Dr. Simpson about some of the facilities upgrades, a little bit about the new cell phone policies at the high school and kind of how that impacts students and kind of the benefits that we'll all see because of that. And we were just thrilled to have him there. So that kind of wraps up the opening of schools. If you have any questions, feel free. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Derek. All right. You don't get to stop. You can take a drink, but we're on to you for the next piece as well. Strategic plan update, communications plan.
Can I just say personally, I really enjoyed the KSDK piece, especially the band playing while Dr. Simpson was being interviewed. And I saw you really trying to focus on the question, and you did a fantastic job. But I can't imagine what it was like to have the band playing like full volume.
He was singing Uptown Girl in the back of his head as it was going on.
There's a story there, maybe for later.
It was awesome though.
But I appreciate it.
All right, Derek, go ahead.
Let me pull this up. Oh, wait, there we go. Okay, so, oh, that's not what you want to see. Sorry. I'll just talk a little bit about this communications plan while I'm trying to pull this up. Here we go. So, as you know, we're guided by, every part of our district is guided by our strategic plan. And so what I like to always do before is just state, you know, our purpose is to inspire the students' lives and communities through learning. And when we do that, everything is tied to that. And so I'm just going to go through kind of you have the report in board docs on the full communications plan. So I'm going to go over kind of at a high level the backstory to some of it, and then the purpose for why we have a communications plan, and then some of the goals at kind of a high level. First, I just want to mention the research, because everything that we do in communications is backed by research. So for the past year, before we developed the communications plan, we've surveyed families, we've surveyed staff, we have had student focus groups, we've had peer discussions amongst other PR professionals in schools. We have a really good communications advisory committee that we started when I got here, or it was last year. I think we've only had it for a year, right? But I feel like it's been longer than that, because it's my favorite committee. Sorry, no offense to all the other committees, but it's my favorite committee. Keita's on the committee. She's not here today, but she would say, hopefully she would say she likes the committee. We are a group of communications professionals, so the idea is we're getting feedback from communication professionals in our school district. Some are parents, some are former parents of students. They're still parents, but they're parents. They're no longer enrolled in the district, or they've graduated, or they're not yet in the district. I've relied on their expertise in a lot of this plan. A lot of the things that we've done as a district, big and small, on the website and social media, is because of kind of the feedback that we've received from them. So I just want to definitely thank our advisory committee for being part of that program. Then we've also reviewed other communication programs, and school districts. Now, planning. So sometimes what we've done before, and whether it's by on purpose or not, our planning looks kind of like this. So it looks like it's messy, but it's not. But the nice thing about putting it on paper is we writing down what some of that mess could be, and it all starts with who's our audience. So a lot of times people think the audience is everybody. So, and it is a lot of people, but we really have to streamline what that means. So our audience is students, audience staff, audience community members, alumni, maybe it's civic leaders, it's other community who is maybe not engaged in the district, grandparents, families, all of that. And so that's outlined. Each contacting and engaging with each of those stakeholders looks a little different. And so you have to prepare for that. Now the implementation piece is what we will be putting in place this school year. So the plan would be to come to you all yearly and update this plan, because not every year looks the same, right? So overall, we have some key messages. The bulk of it is aligned to our strategic plan, as I mentioned. So we always want to highlight achievements and contributions and inspiring stories in our district. We want to be transparent in our communication so that we're clear and consistent about various key initiatives and other school experiences. We definitely want to encourage two-way communication. We want to include student voice in all that we do and develop a sense of belonging through all of our stakeholders. And then we obviously want to continuously improve and evaluate new channels and tools. So I'm just going to go through our goals. We have 4 goals, and I'm going to explain a little bit about each one. And if you have questions during any of it, just feel free to stop me and we can talk further if you do. So our first goal is maintaining and elevating our stakeholder support for Webster Groves School District through impactful storytelling. So as you know, we receive really strong community support, I think, in our district. We know this by our passing of bonds, our community support and engagement and other things. We're trying to target it towards specific objectives, right? Measurable objectives. So we send out a communications survey every year. We're going to add 2 questions to that survey that are pretty industry standard, not only in the communications marketing field, business field, but also in the school district field, right? So we want to ask, on average, what grade would you give the Webster Groves School District, right? And so one of our goals is that our stakeholders will give the district an A, okay? And then the next one is a Net Promoter Score. So Net Promoter Score is, they use it in marketing and businesses, and so what that means is that it subtracts your middle numbers, like it's a scale on a 1 to 10, and it subtracts those people who are basically the middle from the high and the low. So it takes away the 6, 7s, and 8s, and you really want scores of 10 and 9. You subtract those percentage of people who give you 10 and 9 by the people who would score you a 0 through 5, and then that's your Net Promoter Score. So the industry standard in marketing and just in all the other and just in kind of the business world, it's the lowest type of number. It's like a 30s to 40s sort of thing. In school districts, we feel like it could be a lot higher. So our goal is to be at or above a 60. That's kind of based on what we've seen a couple other districts who use the same metrics. We want to do that because we can measure ourselves against other districts. We can measure ourselves against each other over time to see if this plan is successful. Any questions about any of that? We're going to do that. So some of our structured strategies, we're going to engage with families through our storytelling. Like I mentioned through here, a lot of this has to do with storytelling through our various channels that we have. Also, we have student interns in our department, and we feel it really strongly to give them the power to kind of share their own stories, capture their own student voice, not only with them doing it, but other students doing this as well. Because you can imagine someone who, adults telling people how school experience is different than if a student who's actually experiencing that says something about it, right? And so we know that that's really important. And then we also cannot forget about our alumni. As you know, we're calling it Moss Field at Alumni Stadium. Our alumni are really important. We'll continue to do a monthly alumni newsletter, improve our social media reach amongst alumni. and really just foster a sense of belonging amongst all alumni. A lot of them live in the Webster area, many obviously do not, and so it's how can we reach those people the best. Moving on to goal 2, we want to ensure that our communication is consistent about all of our key initiatives and school experiences. You can see target audiences here. The big bulk of what this is and what this means is that we know there's a lot of communication that happens day to day that maybe isn't directly related to our strategic plan. Maybe it's information about a PTO event or some calendar information, or a snow day, things like that, that doesn't directly fall in line with our strategic plan goals. So as a department, we're going to start tracking the percent of time we share stories based on which goals. So for example, our goal is to share to 20% of our goals or 20% of our communication, whether it be social media, website, whatever, has to do with excellent teaching and learning in goal 1, and then so on and so forth. And so the overall goal is that 75% of everything that we output in the department will have to do with our district's 4 strategic goals. And then kind of everything else is more along the informational category, or there might just be other fun things that we do on social that maybe doesn't align directly to a goal, but it's just showing students or adults, So part of that, so those are our output objectives, and then our other objective is that we want outcome objective is that we'll want 80% of our stakeholders will say on the survey that they feel informed about key initiatives. We want to make sure people know what's going on in our schools, and if they don't, it's not because we haven't told them over and over again about what is. There's some people who aren't going to read their emails, so it's how do we reach those particular stakeholders. And excuse me. So like I said, a lot of that's just leveraging our different channels on reaching different audiences. As you know, we've launched Parent Square last year, and we have an uptick in people who have signed up for Parent Square, and especially our teachers who are using it more this year too. And so the more they use it, the more parents will be involved in what their child is learning, because our teachers will be communicating through that method in a more engaging way. Also, a big goal of our department is we have a good relationship with the Webster Kirkwood Times and with some other media outlets, but we're going to really try to be intentional on trying to do things like we did this morning, like try to get at traditional media a little bit more. We know that, when we tell our story, we have more control of it as a district, but it's also important for audiences who, like our general community and other people who don't have direct access to what we're sharing, but they maybe has a broader reach if it's on a local news station, right? And then, like I said about student voice, we want to use those student voice to amplify messages. We've been doing that throughout, but we just want to increase that. We started adding testimonials to our website. So right now we have a parent and an alum, but we want to increase that over the year and just keep them all in there. We want testimonials from our students, from staff members on there about how they feel about Webster and kind of their talking about that. Now, goal 3 is to enhance the effectiveness of current communication tools to convey our key messages and encourage two-way engagement. So some of this has to do with social media, some of it does not. What we want to do overall is to increase opportunities for engagement. Part of the strategic plan on our communication side has to do with this goal as well, is that we're constantly evaluating and measuring different tools that we could use. We met with our student interns today. They talked to us about maybe about TikTok. I'm like, well, let's slow down for a second. Let's just do a little bit of research first. Would you really follow us there? And things like that. So, but it's not a no, right? We just always want to learn. Are there some social media platforms? We have Facebook. We have Instagram. We use Twitter or X. We use LinkedIn. Are there some platforms that we don't reach as many people on, and do we need to continue using some of the platforms based on the time and the engagement we get on those various platforms as well? And we have goals related to that, to engaging with our audience. It's not only social media, though. We want to continue the work of our communication advisory committee. We also created a PTO leadership committee within our communication department. We have a PTO leadership kind of conference on Monday night, which is all tied to helping engage families, not just PTO leaders, but how can PTOs get more engagement from their school communities. We know that not everyone goes to PTO meetings, so how could we help our PTOs kind of change that and kind of flip the narrative there a little bit on getting involved and not just think of it as coming to a meeting, but maybe it's something more. On the website, we've launched more parent resources, have different tools that we're using to streamline some of our things we're doing too. Those are all part of the goal, or part of the strategies and tactics. And then lastly, our main target for this is staff. So we want to enhance our internal communication channels and practices so that we are fostering a cohesive and inclusive organizational culture. So we have employee culture and climate surveys that we send out with students as well. We have adults and teachers and staff who fill those out as well. And so a lot of that is, one, being increased sense of belonging amongst staff members in the school community. And then also same for teachers as well. And then also we want to make sure that all of our employees know and are aware of what we're doing at the district level too. It might just not pertain to their specific role, but we want to kind of lead from the inside outward. So all of our employees should know the things that we're doing kind of before we share things with the public, or before we want them to know before they see something on the news that we're doing, or before they see it in some other way. We want to make sure that they're aware of things that are going on, especially really important things that pertain to them. So we, and with Sandy's leadership on this, we've launched the Webster Black Card last year. That is, we work with our various local members in the community to offer staff discounts on various things. We have our WGSD Cares nomination kind of award program that we have, that any staff member can nominate another staff member. They get a Webster Groves pen. It's for doing something caring with one another and other individuals. And then we launched 2 years ago the WGSD Inspires program, which has been really influential. I think that's obviously not just staff, but it's a lot of other kind of groups too. But staff have been a big part of that. And so it's just increasing those opportunities and making them a little bit better as we go. And then we'll evaluate everything as we go, not only at the end of the year, but monthly. Me and my team will look at everything that we're doing, track, making sure we're on the right track in terms of, are we sharing the right amount of things and whatnot. The communication survey will go out early this year. We have 2 years of surveys to benchmark to what we're going to do. So we're really excited about having this all on paper so that as a department, we can be more strategic in what we communicate and work together and work better together with everybody in the district to kind of make everything, we know how important communications is to families and to students and to staff and to alums and to the community. And so we just want to continue that effort as well. And I'll take any questions you guys have at this time.
Anybody have questions for Derek?
I just want to thank you. As a marketer who is in charge of communications, I appreciate seeing an NPS score amongst many other things, which is something that typically you would see for a company of some size. So I think it's fantastic to see for a school district because it's a way to measure the effectiveness of your communications. So I think it's really cool that we're holding ourselves accountable, and it makes me happy to see. So thank you.
Thank you.
I was also going to thank you before Alex. Thank you. Just want to say that. Thank you for all of the work that you've done on this. I know I sent you a message earlier this week, but it's so great just to see everything on paper. I know you've been doing a lot since you got here, but this is just a great opportunity to consolidate everything, really understand what we're doing and why, and then have a baseline that we can measure and figure out how to make it better every year. So thank you. I'm not sure that we've ever had this, but this is really great. Thanks.
All right. Just Derek, I would say thank you as well, but I have one question. I'm not sure if it's for you or maybe Dr. Wiley Skinner, I'm not sure. You had some percentages for goals up there for increasing as it related to staff and staff engagement and staff feeling of belonging and stuff. How are you going to gather that information? Where does that come from?
So it comes from the culture and climate surveys that we send at the same time we send it to students. We get the same information from staff as well. And so those goals were based off of the couple of years of what we've had so far and seeing where we can go. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. I think for me, like I said, thank you for all the work. I think what I'm most excited about is the evaluation piece, right? It's about just getting something down and starting, and then we can evaluate it, see how we're doing, measure it, and improve it. So thank you for all your work and effort putting that piece in specifically. All right.
I just want to kind of highlight real quick too. A number of years ago, just a little bit before Derek, we started having the interns from Webster Groves High School come in. We've had some, they've all been stellar. And I think continuing to utilize our students in such a way is really powerful, and sincerely listening to them. And I believe and I know that students today have access to information unlike we ever had, people of my age. And so it's important that they're in the loop and in the know and they feel connected because they're getting information. Like, again, they're hearing the stories about our district. And so, to your point, hearing stories from us too is important. So thank you for taking on 4 of those students this year. And I know they'll be awesome and continue to grow us and help us with our communications.
All right. Next on the agenda is Dr. Wiley Skinner and a proposed early separation plan.
Thank you all for the opportunity to share this proposal. I do have a number of slides here, so please interject or ask any questions as we go through. There was a lot in that section. So, this is the Early Separation Incentive Plan, and again, we're offering this for the 24-25 school year only. So what is it? In essence, this plan just provides our employees with a one-time opportunity to separate from the district by retiring and then receiving a financial incentive for this school year only. So that's pretty much what it means. The staff member agrees to retire, and in return, with the separation agreement, they are offered a financial incentive. So who's eligible? We met about this, and I just want to say we had a lot of conversations last year that kind of helped us to build into this year, and it was important for us that we allowed this agreement to be for all staff. So any staff member that meets those eligibility requirements, whether you be certified or support, you are eligible to take a part of this early separation program. There are some additional requirements that we thought about in considering offering this, and one of them is we were requesting that the current employee, of course you have to be a current employee, and then you have worked here for at least 5 consecutive years at a minimum of 30 hours per week. This was something we thought would help us to make sure that typically for the system's PSRS and peers, 5 years gets you vested into the retirement system. We just figured that this was a kind of a clean way of saying have those 5 consecutive years. In addition, you have to be eligible for retirement either through PSRS or through peers. And for clarification, teachers or certified individuals in the state of Missouri pay into PSRS. Those who are not certified will pay into peers. So our nurses, our support staff, custodians, they will pay into peers. So what does this mean holistically? Any eligible employee may opt into this separation agreement if they are retirement eligible. The qualifying employee will receive a financial incentive equal to up to 20% of their contract or their employment agreement, and we've capped it at $20,000. So in layman's terms, what this means is we will take the salary of the contract. If you're a certified person, you receive a contract. If you are part of our classified or support staff, you receive an employment agreement. Whatever your salary is, this does not include if you have any additional stipends or supplemental agreements. It's based off of your salary. We will take 20% of that and pay you out of that. That's your financial incentive, and we will cap that number at $20,000. So in essence, not every employee will receive the same separation agreement amount. It's based upon your salary. Okay? So what will we ask employees to do? The first thing is we want them to preview the documents. There is a lot in there, and these are legal documents, especially that contract. I know you, as a board, you are aware we did provide the staff with those materials sometime earlier this week. We wanted them to know that it was coming, give them an opportunity to know what those things meant. So we want them to look at those documents, and more than that, we want them to speak with their financial advisors, attorneys if they want, to make sure they understand what the documents are asking and what the documents state. The second thing we ask them to do is to make contact with peers. If I'm support, I'm reaching out to peers. If I'm certified, I'm reaching out to PSRS, and they're going to discuss their retirement, right? Those entities, PSRS and peers, determine eligibility for retirement. We don't. And we ask them to request that eligibility so that as a part of the process, they can upload it in our payroll system so that we know that these individuals are retirement eligible. We are asking them to take their time. We're going to give them from, if you approve it today, we will give them from Friday up to Tuesday the 8th to consider opting into ESIP. They can opt in on the day they get the document. They can wait until October 8th. It's their choice, but they will have that entire time to let us know if they're interested. They will, and we will know that they're interested by them submitting and signing all documents that'll be in PAYCOM. PAYCOM is our human resources system. So should you approve this, we will forward them all of the documents via PAYCOM tomorrow so that they have it and they can, again, take it to their tax preparer, their attorney, whomever, consider the proposal, and then they have those, really we've given them 46 days to really sit down and think about it and make a decision. Yes.
Will there be time for us, the administration, to explain this in whether it's a Zoom meeting or building by building, just so the folks that are eligible get a better understanding of it?
Yes, we have scheduled, and when I say we, Jacob and myself, we have scheduled 6 Zoom sessions. We've also off at various times, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, to try to catch different people. And we've asked the buildings, like if you're hearing something and people have a lot of questions, we will come to your school in person. I have personally already met with one person individually. We will meet with anybody individually if they're interested. I have a second meeting for someone else in a couple of weeks. And we already have a meeting time scheduled for the high school, and that'll be like September 12th or something like that.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So they will have the time to submit those documents. They will have access to us individually or the Zooms, however they want. And then if they decide to rescind, because they can, an employee can sign that contract and say, you know what, this is not my time, I don't want to do it. They have 7 days from signing that agreement in order to effectively rescind it. They would just email me, we would delete it out of the system, it's simple. We are affording an additional 7-day grace period after October 8th. So we're not going to formally vet anything until around October 15th or so. So we're giving people plenty of time, hopefully, to think it through as they're processing it. And then if they sign it and they're thinking twice, they have time to do that as well. So why now? Why so soon? I've heard a couple of questions about, like, it's October, it's August, why would you do it now? I don't need to share with you all that hiring for some of these positions may be a challenge. My concern kind of lies a little bit with some of our specialties, like in some of our in high school, Hickson primarily, when you have a teacher that teaches certain foreign languages or industrial tech or some of those things where those areas where there's not as many students that are receiving their certification in those areas, we want to try to get out ahead of it. That's one point. The other point is staffing takes a while. So once we find out this information, we still have to go through our vetted staffing process. And that includes getting class recommendations from the high school and from Hickson. It also includes students signing up for classes. That lets us know how many teachers we need per class. It's still going to take us some time to figure out where the gaps are. And in addition to looking at potentially, we may have to not replace some positions because there's not enough students in those spots. So there's a lot of work that still needs to be finished while we're really up to October 24th when we will bring it back to you for your approval of those individuals and provide you with an update. It's still probably going to take us in some areas around a month and a half or two before we're actually in a good spot where we're able to effectively say these are our needs based off of what our student population is and based off of course selection. So that's kind of why we're there. We're hoping that maybe around December-ish, depending upon the level, we can hopefully get some postings out and have some people starting to be hired mid-January, early February, which is really, really good timing. And most people are not issuing contracts to their staff and other districts until around March. We have heard of some districts issuing contracts to their staff as early as January. So we are going to be really looking at this very, very intently once we get those numbers back to see what areas we're looking for and how we can strategically post those positions, in addition to considering our staffing needs. Okay. Here's the timeline holistically, just kind of mapped out. I've talked a little bit about this. We're today here at the 22nd, and I'm presenting to you tomorrow. Again, it would be our goal to forward that ESIP to all staff, and all staff will receive the documents via our Paycom system tomorrow, if you approve it. We, again, will give them until October 8th, 8 a.m. If you want to do it, please have it signed by then. They have a 7-day wait period from there. We won't even touch it because somebody may decide to rescind. And then by Friday, October 18th, we will be notifying some staff members of their eligibility for ESIP. So we want to make sure that we're clear that you may be eligible for retirement, but we have to vet that you're eligible for ESIP. So we want to make sure we communicate that and that's clear to all of those staff members, and then it'll be our goal to present back to you on October 24th what the numbers look like and then how many staff we have and et cetera, and for you to approve the retirements of those individuals. So what's next? Present to you all. We're here, and then if we approve, we'll send that plan out, everything on the 23rd via Paycom. The Paycom system is really nice in that we'll send them the entire contract. They just click on the date, they click and sign their name, and that's it. Also embedded in there will be a sample retirement letter. If they want to use that, they can. It's all in there. If they want to create something separately, they can do that as well. So that'll be there. We're going to follow all of the steps on slide 8. And to Alex's question, we will have those informational sessions, and then we will have those one-on-one meetings as well as school building or work location buildings as needed. So our goal is to make sure we heavily educate people, but we're really going to impress upon them that if you're truly interested, we want you to make sure that you're reaching out to your tax preparer and or an attorney to make sure you understand fully what that agreement says. And then we'll provide you all with an update, hopefully on Thursday, the 24th of October. Any questions? Mm-hmm.
So on the one slide, you said you're going to, after I think the 24th, you'll just notify people of their eligibility. And I guess they would only not be eligible if they're eligible to retire, but they haven't met the other requirement, the 5 years.
Correct. So if, for example, someone's only been here 2 years, you haven't met that 5 consecutive year, you're not eligible for ESIP. then our next question will be, is it still your intent to retire? Or, you know, or were you just doing that for the purpose of the incentive? So we really plan to make that an individualized conversation with those staff who we are thinking may not be eligible. And they may say, I am eligible, and then we'll have to go back and double check that. But it will be an individual call for those people.
But in theory, they should know if they're eligible or not.
They should, yeah.
Okay.
But like the one person that I've talked with, I talked with her, today's Thursday, had to be Tuesday. She was like, I don't know, I know it was part-time at some point. So we literally went and pulled the file and vetted that information for that person. So we're happy to do any and all of that.
And do you have any sense for how many people will be eligible?
I don't. I mean, we've run some numbers, we've looked. I can give you a hardball, but the other part of this is that people are able in the retirement system to buy years or to purchase years. And so the retirement system affords you that opportunity that, you know, if you want to buy a year, then it cuts down, you know, now I don't have to work 20 years, I only have to work 19. I don't know how many people out there exist like that. And so that'll be another piece too, that if they want to buy a year in order to retire early, they can. You know, that's an option as well. I think the deadline for that is October 7th. So, I mean, I can probably give you a guesstimate, but it's not a good number. I would imagine it might be a large number based off of where a number of our staff are on the salary structure and the fact that we haven't had one for about 8 years. Yeah.
I would say there aren't a whole lot that are fully like 30 years or rule of 80 and beyond. There are, when you start adding in the people that are eligible, starting at like year 25, the number jumps quite a bit. So for what that's worth. I know it's not a number still, but.
Sandy, sorry, go
I
ahead.
was just saying, because you're eligible at year 25.
And there's different ways to be eligible and vested based on age and all those things, but for most of our staff who have been in public education in the PSRS or peer system, and so there's a significant benefit to getting to 30 or getting to the rule of 80. So while some people may wanting to be shift or do something different in the system and in the pension plan, there's a big difference.
So I also had a question about the additional requirements for eligibility, that slide 4. Something that stuck out to me was that have worked a minimum 30 hours per week. I'm guessing, assuming that this is during the school year, not necessarily throughout.
That is correct.
Okay.
Just between for their contracted or employment time. So some of our employees are 181 days. It would just be for that time frame.
Thank you.
Are classified and support staff part of those retirement systems?
Yes, they are part of peers.
Okay. And then, and I'm sorry, I'm not too
It's okay.
familiar with the retirement systems. Are health insurance benefits part of those retirement systems? So if you're eligible in the systems, you have some access to health insurance? Is that?
Yeah, so any of our retirees, they are eligible to opt into Webster Groves medical insurance plan. So they have that option. It's not paid for by the district or by the retirement system. The employee is still responsible for their portion.
Okay.
But they can get the rates that Webster Groves current staff members receive.
Okay, so they would still have access to that if they
Yes.
took the PSIP, right? Okay. And then I just wanted to maybe make a statement that this is 100% voluntary. I know there was
Yes.
some misinformation last year when we discussed this. This is not forced.
No.
This is voluntary. Okay.
And we will share it with everybody, whether you are retirement eligible or not. Everyone's going to receive all of the information. Anyone's welcome to attend our sessions, but this is 100% voluntary.
Great, thank you.
Point of clarification for me, when you're talking about the insurance, they are eligible, and you said, but we don't pay for it, meaning we don't even pay the percentage that we do for full-time employees,
That is
right?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so once I retire, let's say the package I want costs $400 a month, I am responsible for that entire $400 as a retiree, and they pay into that system through the Human Resources and Payroll Department. We have had that question where some people are saying, are you paying for our benefits with this ESIP? And we are not. It is a flat, one-time amount based upon your salary. If you choose to take that money to pay for your benefits premium, that's your choice. But this is just a one-time dollar amount that they will receive an actual physical check for sometime on or before July 31st of 2025.
That's helpful, just trying to fully understand the sort of the financial impact. Along those lines, if I remember correctly, when we discussed this last year, you guys shared, I know it's hard to put a number on projections for this year, but you shared, I think, some numbers of what happened last time we did this. Do you happen to have those? I should have warned you to bring those with you if you
I
did.
can look it up really quickly if you don't. I can take this down.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
And I would add that piece on the insurance piece, just for, that helps to also explain. Lenita Harrison does a great job in Sandy's office of that's one of her main functions, is managing working with staff and benefits, and Emily Vaughn does a great job with that, with Jacob. But they support retirees as long as they're on our insurance. So that's kind of fun, because we'll see a lot of the retirees come into our office because they want to meet with Lenita to talk about insurance. So, yeah, just wanted to add that.
And I'm assuming if they retire, if they don't do early retirement, if they retire whenever they plan to, I mean, they would still be in a position if they're not eligible for, like Medicare or something, right?
Yep. Anybody can continue receiving the same level of insurance. They just have to pay every dollar of it. And if they pause that in any way or stop it in any way, they can't come back to it. And their family, if they have dependents that are on their insurance at the time, they can continue as well, and they have to pay for every dollar of it.
But they do help us over this situation in terms of like our overall.
Yes. Which can impact our ratings, yeah.
For the last time we had 20 certified and 6 support that took advantage of it, so a total of 26.
And remind me of the year, it was 10 or
16.
16.
15, 16 school year.
You have a question? You look like you've got a question.
And I failed to mention, it was just mentioned a little bit more, but I want to kind of elaborate a little bit more. It's a financial incentive, and we're looking at a cost savings as well in the district. So, we will be able to report more out on what that looks like, but this will assist us with some of our budget conversations that we've been having.
Did you have the cost savings last time in the same place where you had those numbers?
Yeah. So the last time, the total cost savings, incentive savings was $468,665.
And I think the thing to remember with that too is, again, it's not a one-time cost savings. That would be an annual. It would narrow as our staff stay for a while, but yeah. And of course, everything is conditioned on who do you hire to replace the people that, if you're hiring.
If you replace
But
that.
the way we work, it's not like some of the districts who don't have some of the challenges. We'll pay 1-to-1 for teachers and staff and administrators, like 1 year to 1 year, and that's not something that we're able to do.
Yeah.
We've done.
All right, I make a motion to approve the early separation incentive plan for the 24-25 school year.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? All right, that passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Moving on to the consent agenda.
All right, I make a motion to approve consent agenda items 5.02, 5.03, 5.04, 5.05, 5.06, 5.07, 5.08, 5.09, 5.10, 5.11, and 5.12.
There's also a 5.01. I know sometimes that's a
Oh.
place header, but there's also a
Oh,
5.01.
okay, and
Sorry.
5.01.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Abstentions? All right, that passes 5-0. And we have come to the end of our evening. I would entertain a motion for adjournment. So moved. Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, thank you, everyone.